Jinkie Eccles. Welcome to Cocoa, Florida. I'm the founder of Braveheart Properties and Peacewind Community, and this is my tiny home. I have been living in this tiny house for 3 years. It is 8.5 by 26. My house was built by a local company called Cornerstone Tiny Home Builders out of Longwood, Florida. My tiny house is in the Peacewind community on my own lot, and I created the community at Peacewind. Peacewind started development in 2015 with the first actual homeowner about 4 years ago. Peacewind is a wonderful community. We have a dog park, a kids playground, multiple community gardens, we have chickens, we have a dock and a lake, and we're soon to have a clubhouse and a pool. We're also working on 14 acres of walking trails in the beautiful wooded oak and pine forest that we have on site. We currently have 2 lots left for sale and 2 lots available for rent. We require background checks for both sales and purchases. For rent, we require a minimum of a 1-year lease. And for sales, you can finance with a company of your choice, or you can pay cash. My house has a wonderful add-on screen porch so that when we have family dinners at Thanksgiving or Christmas, we can all fit in one place. I also have a beautiful white picket fence to screen in my dogs, as well as the cutest little red barn that houses my garage for my teeny tiny little Mini Cooper. In my backyard, I have saved lovely pine trees, and I'm able to have a nice sitting area out there with a second backyard deck with a screened-in gazebo where I oftentimes do yoga and meditation, or just sit and drink coffee while I watch the dog and read a really good book. So now that you've seen the absolute adorable outside of my house, come on in and let's see how cute the inside is. Let's go. Welcome to my tiny house. It's 230 square feet. It's built by Cornerstone Tiny Homes. When it came up for sale, I jumped on it. I love this design. Welcome to my tiny kitchen. This area over here is not only where I eat, sometimes on the couch too, but it's where I work because I work from home. So it was critical for me to have a bar space with stools, particularly 2, none less, so that I could work here also with my bookkeeper and accountant. So I do run Braveheart from this little tiny space. In addition to that, my kitchen, as you'll see, is a U shape, which I really like because it puts everything within reach for me and gives me extra countertop because I do cook a lot. I love the fact that I literally can just pivot to anywhere from any space and have everything that I need. So moving out of my kitchen and my home office / breakfast area, we move into my living room. What was really important in my living room, because I love shoes, was to have storage for shoes as well as for my office supplies, and a full-size couch because my adult children like to hang out with their mama and have movie nights. So we have a full-size sofa. But because I needed somewhere for my clothes to live, which I don't have very many, I had a custom-built base for my couch that has 3 drawers that stores all of my articles of clothing. Literally all of them. The space in my living room works really great. I just plop down and put my feet up and I enjoy the evening. I love, love, love having a full-size couch. If I were to change anything, it would be that my couch is not white. It would probably be a color that didn't show dirt quite as much, but I love the white color because it opens up the space. My company, my 501c3, that is actually the development company that has developed this Peacewind community. Braveheart comes from the fact that I believe that everyone should have freedom to live the way that they want to live. Peacewind comes from the fact my children and I, who were homeschooling when we bought this property, would come out here with machetes and chainsaws, and we would walk around in the woods and we would just cut Brazilian peppers and invasive species out of the property, trying to clear. That there was not this wonderful, peaceful breeze constantly blowing when we worked. And so my kids came up with the name Peacewind. I'm kind of a rebel, but really the catalyst was someone told me I wouldn't be able to do it. They said, you can't have home ownership and house rentals and lot rentals and this kind of diversification and it ever work. And that was just enough fuel to my fire to say, I will show you it can work. It's important for people to be able to own their home and their land. People take pride in ownership. People can find financial stability in ownership, and people like having their slice of the pie. And it's much better for our community that people can own in here because they take pride in it. They keep it up, they make it beautiful, and it's good. But you know, you have to have renters too, and we have that. We have vacant rental lots that if you own your own tiny house on wheels, you can just roll it up and hook it up and you're good to go. We have houses that are small cottages as well as tiny houses, and you can rent those if you don't own your own. But it was really, really important for us to have diversification here in every way, shape, and form, from the way you live to the people who live here. So now let's go to my bathroom. My bathroom has a full-size shower, which also could accommodate a bathtub, which I have considered changing it to. But for now, we have a beautiful tiled shower. But there is nothing better than coming home from a work van trip and getting in this shower and having all the hot water to wash my hair and shave my legs and put a mask on my face and not worrying about running out of water at all or not worrying about where the water is going. It is heavenly. Regular flushing toilet and a decent sized 24-inch vanity. I definitely wanted a flush toilet in here. I live in my van with a composting toilet, and I do enjoy having the ability to have a flush toilet when I'm not in the van. This closet right here is really awesome because inside this closet is where my washer and dryer lives, as well as my printer for work, so it works out really well. So lions are my favorite animal. This painting was purchased for me from a junk store by my daughter to symbolize when we first started Braveheart. And what she said to me was, you have the courage of the lion. So you can do this, Mom. You can do this. So it won't fit anywhere else in my house except for my bathroom. So this is where it lives. And on a side note, as I already told you, I work from home. So what makes it really awesome is if you see any of my podcasts, what you will see is most of the time this is in the background, which what that means is the toilet is actually my seat and my iPad for Zoom calls sits in the window so that I have a beautiful background in my tiny house for all of my Zoom meetings. I do have stairs that are built with storage in them, which makes it really nice to store my vacuum cleaner and other odds and ends. I also am of a certain age that I can't do ladders anymore, at least not in the middle of the night in my tiny house, so it's really important and critical for me to have stairs. Welcome to my bedroom loft. My loft has a stand-up space over here, which makes it really nice for getting dressed or just transitioning into the bed and making the bed. This is my tiny library, and this is extra storage, which actually right now only houses dog vests for my hairless dog. But it's super comfortable, As you can see, what I'm sitting on right here is a little raised nook, and that is to give extra headroom in my shower down below. I have a porthole window, which I enjoy watching the sunset in, as well as windows on either side, which creates amazing ventilation and a beautiful view at night of my backyard, including my string lights, which are just absolutely magical when laying in bed in the evening. I have 2 dogs, and they love the loft because they have a view of not only the outside of everything that's going on, but they also have a view of everything that's happening in the house below. It's kind of like their home, if you will. I have a dog named Dahlia, who is a very, very small mini Australian Shepherd and a blue merle, and she's my hiking buddy. She's my young one, she's 4. She's also a trained service dog. I also have Archie, who is my Chinese crested hairless, and he's my little old man who currently right now is laying outside in the sun because he gets cold in here. It was very, very important for me to develop a community that I would love living in because I live here and my children live here. So I wanted a community that met the needs of myself as well as my children, as well as the other people that live here. And that meant it had to be beautiful, it had to be fun, it had to have amenities, and it had to have the things that I enjoy doing, and that's being outside and living legally tiny. So I love it here. I had the quintessential crisis in my life where in a 9 to 12 month time frame, a lot of things that were very important to me, I lost or ceased to exist. I had several deaths in my family, and my life just kind of crashed and burned. And I became very inward focused to try to figure out what I really wanted my life to look like going forward. Had to reevaluate my priorities and came to realize that my priorities were my family, my children especially, and being able to do the best that I could to broaden their horizons, broaden my own horizons, and to do something that allowed me to live in a way that would give me the financial stability to travel and have adventures and homeschool my kids. I got reacquainted with some people that I had met in the 80s when I used to hitchhike through California and the west coast of the United States, who were some of my hippie friends. And they introduced me to what was called then the tiny house movement. And this was about 12 years ago. And I was like, that's the answer. Living in a smaller dwelling and having less bills and less responsibility and less stuff is the answer to allow me to be able to create a new life for me and my kids. And that's what I did. I made a place in the backyard of our big home in Vieira, Florida to put my tiny house, and I was gonna live in that. Soon found out that you can't do that. It's illegal. And I decided that if it appealed to me, it surely would appeal to somebody else. If this is illegal, then I want to figure out a way to make it legal, and I want to figure out to make it happen, and I want to be the person that makes history and creates a community. And that's how Braveheart was born. The biggest challenge is that people are afraid of what they don't understand or what they don't know. So the biggest challenge came about with changing codes and zoning, or creating them in our case, so that tiny houses could be legal here in Brevard County as an actual permanent dwelling, not as an RV, and actually codes and zoning regulations that allow communities to exist that are true legal tiny house communities, not an RV park or anything like that. By the way, it took me 5 years to actually make this be legal. So I spent 5 years with codes and zoning just for this to be a plan. So full development's really only been about 3 years when we've just hit the ground running. In those early years when it was financially really challenging and it was just me and the few helpers that I had, and most everything was volunteer, I can remember thinking it was by far the worst mistake I've ever made in my life. I had liquefied all of my assets in order to fund the property, and every month I was worried I wasn't going to make the mortgage, and you know, it was just really challenging. Now I walk around the community and people here are living their dream life. They are happy. They're just doing what it is that they wanted to do, that living small or tiny allows them to do, whether it's financial freedom or an adventurous active lifestyle or traveling or having a vacation home in Florida that's close to the beach, and walking around and talking to the people who live here and being in community and having gardens and beautiful trees. I step back and I go, I did this. I created this. And that is really truly now what is the most rewarding. I have a 2023 Ford Transit camper van, extended high roof. I travel now a lot. I'm actually probably in my van 3/4 time and here in my tiny house when I'm not in my van. But I travel with my consulting company, Tiny Casa Consulting. A year ago, I thought what the future was that I was retiring because I was exhausted and I was done. However, the future for Braveheart is basically to continue to run and maintain Peacewind. Our development time is almost over, and then Braveheart will go into a maintenance role. Braveheart is a 501c3, and because I am a nonprofit, I also now have partnered up with ASTM, which is trying to set a standard that is replicable for everyone, everywhere, for tiny houses and tiny house living. And I'm on the subcommittee of ASTM to help create legislature and rules and regulations for the community aspect of tiny house living and tiny home communities. Braveheart also allows me to be a lobbyist in Washington, as well as the state of Florida, for affordable housing, as well as for tiny houses and the right to live freely the way that we want to live. The future of Peacewind is I get to come out of development years, which means I don't have to run an HOA anymore, woohoo, and that goes into the community will then be running the HOA. So Peacewind will continue, but I will then get to just be a resident of Peacewind. The future of both of those things combined is what I'm currently now doing with Tiny Casa Consulting, and that's really truly taking my experience and my knowledge from the last 8 years and going wherever someone needs me, even out of the United States, to help them fulfill their dream as well in any way, shape, or form that I can. And that's truly my mission. I really see living within a smaller footprint in conscious, created, very intentional communities as the future. I feel it's the only answer to a lot of really, really big problems that we have in our world today, not just the United States. So I love the fact that the door has been opened to me because of what I've done with Braveheart and Peacewind, to be allowed to go around and help other people replicate or create their own communities.
Thank you for watching our video and for stopping by Tiny House Expedition. I'm Alexis.
And I'm Christian. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And for more tiny home tours and stories, click the videos below.
And join us on Instagram for bonus content,
including face-to-face conversations with us. We hope to see you there.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one.